Coach Ryan, thanks for the time. We'll start with opening thoughts on the game from each of you and then take questions.
Disappointing, clearly, right? I mean, I give our guys credit, man. We fought and fought and fought. Just tough momentum plays that in critical moments, it's kind of been, the narrative of the year where we need the next play and it's just tough to grab momentum. All credit to our fans. I think that disappoints us as much as anything. We came out here, we're excited to be here. The fan support's awesome, and we want to reward that. So, to say we're disappointed, from that standpoint, is an understatement. And for us, disappointing because, we're now in a tough spot. Like, we're in a playoff hunt, and we've talked about controlling our destiny. Now we need help. It's going to be a long 2 weeks, obviously here with a bye, but we're going to come back swinging here in 2 weeks in Boston.
Yeah. Not the weekend that I had pictured in my head, but I think fans were amazing. I think credit to both teams that we faced. They're great top to bottom, and we went through some adversity this weekend, and I was pretty proud of I think the way that we responded tonight. I mean, there's resolve in our group, and I was really proud of that. And, the outcome wasn't what we wanted. But I still think that there's some positives littered in there, and we're just hoping for a fighter's chance here so that we can build on some of those.
Questions?
Hey, fellas. Sorry about the voice. This is Toast from the Arrowhead. Just want to say thank you to you guys coming out. Us Archers fans bleed orange and blue till the day we die. If you guys had the opportunity to talk to every single one of the Archers fans that was here today, what's the message that you'd want to send to them?
I mean, a huge thank you, right? We love it. We feel it. We are the Utah Archers. No other team has the same relationship and fan base that we do. We respect that. We appreciate that. And we send love right back. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So, again, the disappointing thing, we're sorry. We want to come out here and win games so that you guys come home, go home with a big smile on your face. So unfortunately, it was a tough weekend for us, but hopefully, the fan base saw what kind of fight we have and what kind of character this team, has and stands for, and we'll be back. We'll be back.
Yeah, I would echo the thank you as well as the apologies. But every single person on this team loves coming out here. I think what what you guys are doing, especially with the supporter club, is what it's all about, and that's the way that you really grow the game. I mean, I got out of here Tuesday, and I'm going back and forth with James, trying to figure out places to play. He's helping me grab some goals, and that's what it's all about, of creating a community and a fan base, and the love and support that they give us, even though we just lost and all these kids are happy and running around, gives you some perspective. So keep the faith. We're not going anywhere, and we'll be back. And I know it was a little bit of a tough weekend, but I love coming here, and so does everyone else.
Hey, guys. I guess to start my question with a statement, I think a year ago you sat here and said, we know we're Utah's team, and the outcomes this week were different, but I hope you know that the fans are Utah Archers fans, and we are here till the death. It also, a year ago, we sat here and said, Tom went down, team's facing adversity. Feels like it's becoming a broken record at this point, but you guys came out tonight with a lot of fight. How do you get up for a game like this when you face the adversity of having Tom and Grant go down in the next game? Connor goes down in, I think, the first half and is coming back in, but how do you keep that mindset and keep going?
Well, I mean, I think it starts right from the top. It's always, next man up. We gotta make plays. It doesn't matter who is doing it. Those are all-time guys that we have go down. And it's not easy, and, we just tried to say, screw it, let's play loose, let's play for them, let's play for each other, and who cares whatever is going on around us. The only thing we can do is just, control one shift at a time. And again, you talk to Tom and Grant, those guys are, coaching us as soon as we come off the field. They're talking us through what they're seeing. They were amazing, and they're consummate leaders, so. I don't know. I just feel that trickle down, and it doesn't matter if it's Sam King making a play or, Merck, who has only suited up once or twice. that comes from the top of, like, you need to step up and make that next play, and I think we felt that tonight coming from those guys who were especially down.
Sean?
Ryan, you mentioned Sam. He's having an incredible rookie season, gets a hat trick tonight. I know he's probably kicking himself in the locker room right now just because of the result and everything, but what is it about his game where he's been able to have so much success as such a young player that he is?
I mean, it's a long list. I think he's one of the most complete attackmen, especially an ex-attackman that I've ever been around, and I feel like I've been around a lot of special players. He does all of the fundamentally sound things extremely well, but he's so tough. He's so smart. It's really been a pleasure, I think, like watching him evolve every single game. I think you start to see, he's got confidence, and to me, I'm like, we just got to find ways to get him more touches. If I see on the stat sheet that he's, got maybe under 20 or 25 touches, I'm like, when the ball's going through him, good things tend to happen. So I think it's just the start of like a pretty damn good career, and I'm really excited for him.
Questions on Zoom? Zach? Sorry, Zach, one sec. Go again, Zach. Sorry about that.
No worries. Coach, I know Tom and Grant were out, and it's just been a couple days, but do you have status updates on their status moving forward?
No, honestly. It's I think sort of day to day and different injuries. Graham with a concussion or Grant with a concussion. That protocol, just unfolds, and then Tom's just we got to figure out how to manage, some of his knee issues. But no news at this point in terms of what's next.
Kyle?
Yeah, for Ryan, the past couple of weeks, Mason Woodward has been a huge spark plug for you guys, especially from range when he's out there and able to connect on those type of shots. What does that do for you guys in the huddle, knowing that, you have somebody like him that in the blink of an eye can kind of launch a two for you and keep you guys in a game or flip a game on its head in your direction?
It gives us a ton of momentum. We have a lot of confidence in him. He could shoot it from 20 yards, and I think we'd all on the sideline be telling him it's a great take. He's another one who is just like such a complete lacrosse player. He put it on full display when we were in the Champ Series, and I think it was even more eye-opening to find new and crafty ways to get him the ball in between the lines. And I think we've done a good job of that. Credit to the coaches of seeing how he just like hunts those opportunities, and he can hit twos on the run with a long pole, which I don't think anyone else in the league can do. So, in a word, yeah, momentum. But I think it also opens our eyes that we could be more creative and find new ways to kind of get him the ball from range.
Zach?
Coach, on that note, Mason is second in Archer's history in two-pointers already. A lot of those have been underhand. Have you seen a pole shoot from distance underhand like that? And just what about his shot is so effective from that distance?
No, you're spot on. It's pretty unique for a pole to sort of have that handle. Graham actually shoots very similarly, but more times than not, poles are sort of bringing it from their ankles overhand. So Mace's stick skills are really second to none. So he's it's almost like he's got a short stick, and he mixes his angles. He goes low to high. He goes near side, far side. He's a gamer, man. He loves playing lacrosse. He loves shooting. So it's been fun to see his spark these last couple games because we've needed it.
Dan?
Yeah, on the theme of the two-pointers, final score 15-10. If you count just number of times the ball went into the goal, it was 11-9, and it was a tighter game. So, when you think about trying to limit the two-pointers of somebody like a Brennan O'Neill, who seems to be able to kind of create them out of nowhere, how do you try and defend a player like that? Like, how does it even the conversation start?
Nah, I think it was a little uncharacteristic for us. It's no shock that how we play picks and teams are constantly picking against us because normally they'll get a switch. we just were steps low, frankly. I mean, there's some late in the clock where if it's coming, you just have to switch and step out aggressively, and we sort of stepped out a little bit soft. And those are tough shots for goalies, right? Especially with Brennan's release point. But I didn't think we were as on point there defensively. Stepping out on double because most of them came on switches, and then we just got lost in the shuffle a couple times. But if there's a difference in the game, like we tie at 9-9. It's been a tale of the season where there's just momentum plays where we just dropped a couple passes, we missed a ground ball. Like, you need those plays, and we've talked about Archers Lacrosse, not beating ourselves, and guess what? We're beating ourselves. And that's an indication of goals that we don't normally give up, but it's part of the bigger picture of things that we're clearly struggling with, all over the field.
Kyle?
Yeah, for Coach and Ryan, if you want to chime in as well. Beginning of the season, you talked about Dyson Williams being a tentpole player for this organization. And with the injuries that got sustained this weekend, Dyson tonight has his second career multi-point game this season. Is the expectation a little bit different for Dyson now that some guys are dealing with injury, or is that expectation still the same and you just want to see him continue to kind of progress with how you see him fit in this offense?
We have so much talent on our offense, really, individually, and Dyson's, can sometimes default to be a complementary player and an inside player, like he was at Duke, like he was an inside guy. And the last 3 weeks, the last thing I say to him, coming out of the locker room is be aggressive. And I chuckled again because the last 3 games coming out of halftime, he scored the next goal. But then we've also, encouraged him to be a ball carrier. He's a big boy. If you watch him with Team Canada, he comes out of the box. Like, he's a tough cover. He's the NLL Rookie of the Year. Like, that dude can play. So it was fun to see him come. And he's very left-handed, as we all know, but he, had that nice backhand. So, again, I think he's got a really bright future, and his game's going to continue to evolve as a Dodger. He's a really good cutter and inside player, but he's a good ball carrier. He's a good feeder. And he's he's a great teammate also.
I think he does a lot of the little things that, probably don't show up on the stat sheet. And, sometimes we don't get him the ball as much as we could. I saw him at lunch today, and, we were reviewing the stats, and he had 3 touches last night, and one of them was a goal. And it's just an indicator of, we got to get the ball in his stick a little bit more and get him in some of those 2-mans and get some flow. And I think he's got, a long career ahead of him in this league. And it's been fun playing with him on the left side as well because he's super crafty and a pest-off ball. And it was really awesome to also see him just have that just huge unassisted goal tonight. That was backhand towards the end of the shot clock. I mean, those are the plays that I feel like, we've been able to make, when we've been really, really good. And it's a positive in my mind that I think about where it's like, all right, we got 1 game left to go. How do we stack up some of those big ones? And I just, for him personally, like that's a big time step for him.
Any other questions?
You kind of just touched on it. You're going into the bye week, and then you have 1 more game left, big one in Boston against Carolina. What does success look like in the bye week and then into that last game of the regular season?
Take care of your bodies first. It's 2 games. A lot of us are flying cross country back home. Mentally, go look at the film, look at some of the unforced turnovers that we have. I mean, traditionally we've been really good in the middle of the field, and then on offense we share it. And, we're just not there 100% yet. And, all it takes is a game, I think, to do that. And all we're looking for is a shot. And then I think we just need to keep our confidence. There's going to be things that are out of our control. And I think the message will be we're going to go into Boston and we're just going to try to win. And we're going to, play Archers Lacrosse and play for each other. And wherever we land, so be it.
Thank you both. Appreciate the time.
Thanks, guys.
Coach Brennan, Logan, congrats on the win and on clinching a spot in the playoffs. We'll start with opening thoughts on the game from each of you and then take questions.
Yeah, no, it's a great conference win, and we're happy that, that's a really good team that plays really hard, and being down two of their better players, we kept having to talk to ourselves not to take them lightly, and I think they proved that in the first half, and we kept wearing them down in the second half and started getting after them a little bit there in the fourth quarter. So it was a really good game, and proud of the guys, their resilience. Not always the highest IQ plays down the stretch, so we got to get better at that. But altogether, this is a really good team that puts a lot of pressure on another defense and another 44 shots this week. So pretty proud of the guys top to bottom.
Yeah. It was a hostile environment. We played Utah last year in Utah as well, so we knew what we were getting ourselves into. Crowd was loud when they scored, and they were quiet when we scored, so we knew we had to deal with that, and I'm really proud of how mature we were at handling the ups and downs and the momentum changes throughout the game. And I think winning in hostile environments like that is really important for the future of the season, and just knowing you can win games in that type of place and environment. So yeah, I'm proud of how we were able to handle that, and I was happy to get the win.
Yeah, piggyback off Brennan. Every time he touched the ball, the whole crowd was booing him. So, he handled that well today. But, it was a great atmosphere, beautiful views. But, when you step on the field, you want to play the game. And we knew that they were going to come out. They were hungry. But we kind of just stuck with them. And, our first half was a little sloppy. We knew we could play better. And we knew that they were going to come out quick in the first half. We kind of weathered their storm here and there. It was kind of ups and downs. But towards the end, we kind of played a little bit smarter, and we made some more tough plays. The offense did a great job these past couple weeks. They're firing it around. And the defense, I'm always grateful for them. Guys, putting their bodies on the line. Mike Manley just stepped right in front of a few shots, and, he's making saves too. So I think that's a great culture we have, guys putting their bodies on the line for each other. And I'm super proud of the guys,
Questions?
Yeah, Coach, you guys all touched on it a little bit right there, but to be able to clinch a playoff spot before homecoming weekend and all that, just what does it mean for this club to kind of have your postseason not shored up, because I guess you still have enough to play for, but that side of it at least shored up?
Yeah, I think it's a milestone for us. Like in this season is to clinch a spot, and our ultimate goal is to be there and win the final game that we can play in this year. And so that part's good. And I just think that as a team, we find ways to win. And I think it was a little ugly at times tonight, but we find the ways to win, and we have some horses. And when a couple guys might not be playing as well, a couple other guys step up. So I think that's kind of how all good teams are, and we're just trying to get better every week.
As you continue into Denver next week in 2 games, you already have your playoff spot solidified. What does success look like next week now that you have that spot?
Is that for me? I think
Pseudo.
It's continued, just continue to get better. All right, make the smart IQ plays in the right times of the games, and try to make sure we cut transition. And it's another conference game on Friday, and we're going to take it one game at a time. And I think it's important for us to go, set the tone there, and play our best game that we can play.
Brennan, for you, you're making some attempts and goals that are very creative, and it just seems like you're having a lot of fun. Is that stem from the hostile environment and kind of that motivation, or where is that coming from right now?
I've always tried to play creative and just try new things. And you have this confidence in this team when the other team has the ball, when you have the ball, that you're going to get it back, you're going to make a stop, you're going to score a lot of goals just because of how the trajectory of the season so far. So it kind of allows you to try these new things, and some shots you might not take, you take, because I have so much confidence in the other side of the field and our O guys that we're going to get it back either way. So I think a lot of it stems from that. Yeah.
Questions on Zoom? Topher?
Hey, Brennan, interesting kind of situation for you. Logan mentioned it a little bit, but crowd kind of going after you a little bit, definitely a little more energy in that sense of things. What was your emotions like today, and kind of how nice was it to make some nice plays and kind of quiet the crowd and quiet those boo birds a little bit in that game?
Yeah, they did it last year too. There's nothing. I've had people boo every time I've touched the ball in high school. I've had it at every level, so it's nothing new. It's just the way sports is. Another team's cheering for the team you're going against, so they're gonna have some words to say. So I don't really think too much of it. If I really cared about stuff like that, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. Just try to put my head down, play for the guys next to me in the locker room, and do my best.
Kyle?
Yeah, Brennan, two-pointers today, your third of the season. Can you just talk about, your development from, being able to hit from range and the creativity you have from beyond the arc?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've always had the range. It's not like it just suddenly like a superpower. It's just shots are going. Sometimes they don't, sometimes they do, and the last few weeks they have been. So I'm thankful for that. But yeah, I just half the time you don't even know it's a two. You're so locked into the game. You see green. You see the field in front of you. You run to it. Your hands are free and you take the shot. So a lot of times I'm not even thinking about how far I am, but just kind of playing in the moment and taking the shots when I can. So it's just kind of been falling for me.
Zach?
Yeah, Brennan had a career high in assists, I think, with 4 tonight. Just what does his presence do for you on offense?
He's a beast. Makes the right plays most of the time. Obviously, no one's perfect, but when he has the ball and a stick, he's going to probably make the right play. So it's really calming to have that on your side of the ball. And yeah, everyone knows he can feed from his college career. So things were falling for other guys. He was making the right looks, and guys were moving well off ball, and they were canning the shots. So it was really cool to see him step up today in that aspect.
Dan?
Yeah, for anybody who'd like to weigh in, you guys had the ball for a little more than 5 minutes more than the Archers did tonight. You completed more than 100 more passes than they did. A lot of the stats were kind of lopsided in your favor, but did it feel like, you should have been pulling ahead maybe more than you were as that game was going on? It kind of took a while maybe for you to really feel like you were in control in a way that matched how some of the stats seemed to be going.
Yeah, I think I don't always know if it's always a good metric, that the time of possession, but I think if you kind of weigh that out over the shots that we got compared to what they got, I think it's it's super important. I think Weirman had a great game, and sometimes the 32-second clocks are tougher because you kind of get into this role of like getting a shot off quicker, and I think it affected us in some of our 52s, especially at the end of the first half. I think we had 3 possessions in a row that we just shot it really quick. So there's always stuff that we can get a little bit better at, but it's face-offs, it's ground balls, it's all the little things that I think that at the end of a game, and I guess you're right. I did feel during the game that we were dominating them in some aspects, and the game was closer than I felt it should be. So it was a little frustrating at times, but it was good to see the guys kind of at the end of the game just step up and do the things they needed to do and make plays.
Joe?
Yeah, question for Logan. Jake Pisano scored a 2-point goal today, 9 points on the year, one of the highest scoring long pole seasons in PLL history. What do you like about outletting the ball to Jake Pisano?
Yeah, I think, those guys have confidence in me when, they see shots and, maybe sometimes they're rushing out to guys that are taking shots and they have a lot of trust in me. They're, as soon as the shot's taken, they go down towards the midline and look for my outlet. But in any case, guys shoot from a certain spot. The guy covering the ball, that's the best place to look to right away when you make that save. So, I mean, he's just amazing all over the field. He has great stick skills, great IQ. He can shoot the ball pretty well. So we've seen that this year, and it's good for us. Transition offense. It's been working out. Taking our opportunities when we see him, and he's been canning them. So.
Chris?
Yeah, Coach, Ryan Tarafinko hits a big 2-pointer there in the fourth quarter that gives you guys the lead and helps you pull away. Just how would you describe the effect having someone like that for your team between the arcs? Just kind of elevates the rest of the team's play and the ability to kind of relax knowing you don't have to get a D-midi off the field so quickly, someone like him.
Yeah, I think he's been critical in a lot of things that we've done offensively this year, especially in the short clock situations after winning face-offs. But, he's talented enough that he understands the offense that we're trying to run in, that early offense kind of stuff. And he's probably got one of the highest IQs on the team. So he plays that game like he's going off and comes back and he frees himself up and, from picking to cutting to dodging and feeding, like he's a kind of a full package. He's more of a two-way midi, but he's a lockdown defender at the same time. So we're very fortunate that he fell to us a few years ago.
Kyle?
Yeah, for Coach and Brennan, Coach, a couple weeks ago, you guys bring Jonathan Donville in. What have you seen from him, since he's come into your organization? What has he provided, for the locker room and on the field that may not reflect in the stat sheets in particular? And Brennan, what's it been like playing with Donville, and what do you think he's brought, to the midfield and to this offense for you guys that you may have been missing earlier in the season?
Yeah, my experience so far, he's such a team guy. It's always asking, what would you like me to do? And, when you get a guy like that, who's willing to do anything, play any role you need in order to be successful, it's awesome because, I don't know, it's always the unseens. It's always, cutting hard. Even just what's underrated is his ball movement and just a good hard pass right to the stick. That can go a long way. So he does a lot of great things, and it really helps us as an offense. And yeah, he's just been a good team guy, which is all you can really ask for, especially when a guy comes in late in the season. And it was seamless how he fit into the locker room. So it's been great.
Yeah, just his background in box, even on that last 2-pointer, he's the one that set that screen to free your hands. And I think he had 2 last week that he was directly responsible to setting a pick. So those things don't go unseen by us, but they don't end up on the stat sheet. And, having a few weeks off and then come in and play with us, he looked way better in practice. And, I think the flow of the game is going to come to him, and we're going to start understanding what he does. He's like a give-and-go guy, too. And so there's a lot of little things that, we're hopeful that are going to turn into points for him. But if he just grinds it out and sets amazing picks to get guys open, then he's doing his job at the same time. But he's a great kid, and we love having him around the locker room.
Last question, Joe.
Yeah, coming off a game where you were going against a rowdy home crowd, supporting Utah, next week you go back to Denver to play in front of the Outlaws fans. What excites you most about that opportunity?
Yeah, for me, just it was such a great crowd last year. I don't know if there's a better fan base in the PLL at this point, and it's a very they're right on top of you. It's such a cool venue, and we're looking forward to having some positive vibes coming out of the stands after tonight. But it's going to feel good. The back-to-backs have been tough on home teams, and we're just going to prepare the best we can. We play at 6 and then again at like 11 a.m. So it's going to be a quick turnaround, but our guys are up for it. It's late in the season. It's our final 2 games of the season, and we want to make sure that we, go into the playoffs with some momentum. So it's an important weekend for us and for Denver, and I know it's important to the Denver fans. So we're excited to get out there.
Thank you all. Enjoy the win.
Thanks.
Thank you.